Hello, my name is Arthur Fearnall and today I will critically evaluate two articles, both from the Journal of Adventure Education and Outdoor Learning. The first article is titled Bigger Experiences and the Meaning of Adventure by Benjamin C. Ingman, published in 2017. My primary focus will be on Ingman's use of phenomenological portraiture as a methodological framework and its limitations in data collection and analysis. The article seeks to explore the subjective experiences of individuals who have participated in adventure activities, aiming to uncover the deeper meanings they associate with such experiences. This focus on subjective meaning aligns well with the paradigmatic underpinnings of phenomenology, which prioritises lived experiences. Ingman adopts phenomenological portraiture as his methodological approach, combining the interpretive depth of phenomenology with the narrative richness of portraiture. While this method offers unique strengths, I argue that its limited scope of data collection and analysis significantly constrains the reliability and generalizability of the study's findings. First, let us examine the inherent limitations of phenomenological portraiture. This method, as described by Ingman, involves in-depth interviews with a small number of participants, whose narratives are then reconstructed into vivid, descriptive portraits. In the case of this study, just one subject is used, Simon, a 27-year-old male. While this approach provides a detailed exploration of individual experiences, it raises critical concerns regarding sample size and diversity. This issue is by no means unique to the paper in question. A 2015 study by Scrutton and Beams identified limited sample sizes as a recurring problem within outdoor education research. Moreover, adventure experiences are shaped by a number of factors, including social, cultural, and personal contexts. By limiting his participant pool, Ingman risks presenting findings that are overly specific and underrepresentative of broader populations. This limitation is particularly significant given the diverse ways individuals engage with adventure activities, from solo mountaineering to guided group excursions. Without a more inclusive participant pool, it becomes difficult to discern whether the identified themes are unique to this one individual or reflective of wider trends. In the spirit of academic fairness, it is worth noting that Ingman does openly and candidly acknowledge this, stating on page 343 that diversifying the methods utilised to inquire into adventure will result in a more robust understanding of what adventure can mean for education. Secondly, the data collection process inherent to phenomenological portraiture poses challenges to rigour and objectivity. Ingman relies exclusively on participant interviews, a method susceptible to several forms of bias. For instance, participants may consciously or unconsciously tailor their narratives to align with societal expectations or the perceived aims of the study. The reliance on self-reported data overlooks alternative avenues for inquiry, such as observational methods or the integration of quantitative measures, which could provide a more comprehensive understanding of the adventure experience. Additionally, phenomenological portraiture emphasises the co-creation of meaning between the researcher and participants. While this interpretive collaboration is a cornerstone of the methodology, it also introduces subjectivity into the analysis. Ingman acknowledges his role in shaping the narratives, but does not provide sufficient detail on how he mitigated potential biases or ensured the trustworthiness of his interpretations. This lack of transparency raises questions about the robustness of the study's findings. Third, let us consider the limitations in analytical depth. Phenomenological portraiture, by design, prioritises rich narrative descriptions over systemic thematic analysis. In Ingman's study, the resulting portraits are evocative and engaging, but lack a clear analytical framework for interpreting the underlying themes. This narrative-centric approach risks reducing the study to storytelling, rather than advancing theoretical or practical insights. For instance, while Ingman identifies themes such as personal growth and a sense of connection to nature, these themes remain underdeveloped in relation to existing literature. How do these findings align with or challenge established theories of adventure education? Without situating the results within a broader academic context, the study's contribution to the field remains unclear. A more rigorous analytical approach, such as coding systematically or triangulating findings with other data sources, could have addressed this issue. These methodological implications have broader implications for the field of adventure education and outdoor learning. While phenomenological portraiture offers a compelling way to capture the richness of individual experiences, its limited scope makes it an inadequate standalone method for addressing complex research questions. Adventure education is a multifaceted discipline that intersects with psychology, sociology, and environmental studies. To generate findings that are both robust and applicable, researchers must adopt methodologies capable of accommodating this complexity. One potential solution is methodological triangulation, which combines qualitative and quantitative approaches to strengthen the validity and reliability of findings. For example, future studies could supplement phenomenological portraiture with surveys or observational data to capture a more comprehensive picture of the adventure experience. By broadening the scope of the inquiry, or potentially employing a variety of research methods, researchers can ensure that their findings are not only evocative, but also empirically grounded. In conclusion then, while Ingman's use of phenomenological portraiture offers valuable insight into the subjective meanings of adventure, it is ultimately constrained by its limited scope of data collection and analysis. The small sample size, reliance on self-reported narratives, and a lack of systemic analysis diminishes the study's reliability and broader applicability. As scholars in the field of adventure education, we must critically evaluate the methodologies we employ, ensuring that they align with the complexity of our research questions and the diverse experience of our participants and field. I will now move on to critically evaluate the second article, Where is the E in OE? The McDonaldization of Irish Outdoor Education by John Peers and Simon Beams, published in 2022 in the Journal of Adventure Education and Outdoor Learning. While this article raises important questions about the quality and purpose of outdoor education in Ireland, my critique focuses on its methodology, presentation of evidence, and potential biases in its conclusions. The authors employ an ethnographic methodology, studying 4 out of 13 publicly funded Irish outdoor education centres over a 10-month period. They observe activities, collect qualitative data, and conclude that Irish education has become McDonaldized, a term borrowed from George Richer, which describes processes of standardisation, efficiency, and dehumanisation. This critique implies a loss of educational depth and experiential value within these programmes. While the study's premise is thought-provoking, its execution and reporting raises several methodological and analytical concerns, which I will now outline. One of the most significant issues lies in the narrative scope. Despite collecting data over 10 months from 4 centres, the author's conclusions rely heavily on a description of activities from a single morning's observations. The selective use of data creates a misleading narrative that overshadows the broader context. For example, the authors describe an overly structured programme where activities are rigidly timed and participants are moved quickly between tasks with little time for reflection, autonomy, or engagement. However, they fail to clarify or demonstrate whether this observed morning is representative of all centres, let alone the entire dataset collected over the 10-month period. Given the scope of their fieldwork, the lack of detailed and balanced reporting is concerning. Are we to believe that this one morning encapsulates the essence of Irish education as a whole? Without further examples or comprehensive analysis of the data, this claim is tenuous at best. Another major limitation is the absence of quantified datasets or tables to support the findings. Ethnography is a qualitative method, but it does not preclude the use of quantifiable summaries or categorised observations to substantiate its claims. For instance, the authors could have included frequency tables or summaries comparing different centres, activities, or participant experiences. These would lend weight to their argument and provide readers with a clearer understanding of the study's scope and findings. Instead, we are asked to accept their conclusions without sufficient evidence. This lack of transparency undermines the study's credibility and leaves it open to accusations of selective reporting. Another issue is the failure to differentiate or analyse key variables that could influence the quality of outdoor education programmes. Factors such as the rural or urban setting of the centres, as well as the qualifications and experience of the instructors, are all referenced but not explored. Each of these variables could significantly affect the structure and delivery of outdoor education programmes. For example, urban centres might face logistical constraints that rural centres do not, potentially influencing their programme design and execution. Similarly, the qualifications of instructors could impact how the activities are facilitated, particularly in fostering meaningful reflection and engagement. By ignoring these variables, the authors miss an opportunity to present a nuanced analysis and instead risk oversimplifying their critique of Irish outdoor education. Finally, I would like to address the potential for confirmation bias. Simon Beams, in particular, has often critiqued the delivery of outdoor education from a postmodernist paradigm. His previous work, especially since the publication of his formative and widely cited article, Losing My Religion, frequently calls for a rethink of the Neo-Hahnian or Preistian adventure programming model of outdoor education, advocating for a more inclusive and transformative approach to outdoor education. While this perspective is both valuable and valid, it raises concerns about the objectivity of this study. If the authors entered the research process with a preconceived notion that Irish education, or even for that matter outdoor education as a whole, is overly standardised and in need of reform, then this could have shaped their observations and interpretations. The confirmation bias may have led them to focus disproportionately on examples that align with their critique, while neglecting counterexamples or alternative explanations. As Heidi Smith put it, when an outdoor educator, as researcher, enters the field to observe an outdoor learning programme, they come to the research context with particular biases from personal experience and expertise, and these impact how they see the outdoor learning context, including its actors. Andrew Brookes made a similar point recently, asserting that following evidence and reasoning to form a conclusion is the exception, not the norm. The default setting for most of us is to seek reasons and evidence which support our existing intuitions and beliefs. These methodological shortcomings have broader implications for the field of outdoor education research. Rigorous, balanced and transparent reporting is essential for advancing our understanding and ensuring the credibility of our findings. While the concept of McDonaldization is an important lens for examining the commodification of education, its application here is undermined by the lack of robust evidence and nuanced analysis of the data collected. Further studies should strive for a more balanced approach, incorporating mixed methods to triangulate findings and provide a fuller picture of the phenomena under investigation. By integrating qualitative narratives with quantitative summaries and addressing key variables, researchers can produce findings that are both evocative and empirically grounded. In conclusion then, while Pears and Beams raise critical questions about the state of Irish outdoor education, their study relies on selective narratives, absence of quantified data, and a lack of attention to key variables. All of this limits the validity and impact of their conclusions. As researchers and practitioners, we must remain vigilant in our critique of methodologies, ensuring that our work contributes meaningfully to the ongoing evolution of outdoor education. Thank you for your time.